Hello, wealth builders. Hi, welcome. It's week 26. I do want to apologize. I know last week I wasn't on. I was away to a conference and I forgot to let you know that I would be away. But hopefully it wasn't too inconvenient for you. I know that there's several of you who are catching up for some weeks where you had that break. So I'm sure there's plenty of information that you could go back to, and it's always good to go back over sessions to help beef up what you've been building. So I hope that wasn't too much of a distraction. But we're back this week. We're back in action. And this week is another important week as we are planning and building and scaling our businesses. And so this week, I want us to review something that we've talked about before, but I want to come at it at a little bit of a different angle. This week, we're talking about our business plan as a prophetic document. And I know that you know that because we've been here a few weeks now. But we know this familiar scripture in Habakkuk chapter 2, second verse. We know it well. Write the vision, make it plain on tablets so he may run who reads it. And so, since we're halfway through our year-long launching pad, this means that you have 26 weeks that are behind you. You've already covered midway, but it also means we got 26 weeks in front of us. And so this is an ideal time to stop and pause and take another look at this. So we want to mark this moment with an asterisk because this scripture, uh, Habakkuk 2 and 2, it has appeared in this series before, and we're returning to it now with a very specific application. And this matters exactly at this stage in planning and building your business. The verse says, write the vision. We want to make it plain so he may run who reads it. And we've talked about this instruction as a spiritual discipline. It's the act of giving your calling enough specificity that it becomes actionable. That's what we've been talking about. And today, I want to extend that same instruction into the most practical and most concrete form that is the vision becomes your business plan. Now, a business plan is not a document that you write because a bank or an investor might ask for one someday. No, it is actually the prophetic vision of our scripture in its fullest, most operational form. The articulation of your enterprise that you are building, written plainly enough that someone other than you could pick it up and understand exactly what you are creating, for whom you are creating it, and how you are creating it. That's what your business plan is. So if you have been avoiding writing yours, I can feel some of you, you got scribbles on pieces of paper here and there. We want to address that directly today. And if you have one, because you have been working session by session with us and you have now developed a business plan, but you haven't looked at it since the last time I talked about it, I want to address that today as well. So here is something that is true about the human mind that every founder eventually discovers, usually the hard way. You can hold your idea in your head that feels completely clear. You get it. But the moment that you try to write it down in full sentences, you discover it was not as clear as you felt it, right? So thinking allows vagueness to hide because it's in your head, you kind of know what you're talking about. And a thought can gesture at an idea without ever pinning it. You have like the big, super, super big picture. And you can think, I have served small business owners who need help with their operations. See, that's a big, broad picture. And you can feel like you know exactly what you mean when you say something like that. While the actual definition of small business owners, that's pretty broad. Or even that you're going to help them. What does help mean? And that you're going to help them with operations. Well, there's a lot of components to operations. So that statement that you're going to help small businesses with their operations can still be too vague and it's not entirely examined. And that's what we want to avoid and correct. So, writing does not allow vagueness. The moment you try to put your idea into a sentence that someone else will be reading and understanding, that vagueness becomes visible. You will see what's missing. So you'll either have to define your terms or you'll have to admit that you are not as defined as you think you are. So that's precisely why our scripture today instructs writing the vision rather than simply receiving the vision. The vision was already given, it had already received the vision. It's the writing was not how Habakkuk got the vision. That wasn't what the writing was about, how I received a vision from the Lord. No, the writing was how the vision became something someone else could run with. That's what the writing is. That is the subject of this verse. The same is true for your business. The idea is the gift. God gifted you with an idea. The writing of that idea is what makes it operational. So a business plan then is not a bureaucratic paperwork standing between you and the real work that you want to do in your business. No, the business plan itself is a significant act of the real work of running your business because the clarity it forces is the clarity that you genuinely need before you can build well. Okay, and so let me pause here because I need to talk about something that's been coming up a lot. All right, let me talk about artificial intelligence because I'm getting a lot of uh, things coming across my desk that are alarming to me. And Tally Carter, I am a technologist. So I use technology. I have a technology company, and so I am a champion for the use of technology as a tool. However, what's coming across my desk are documents, pitches, uh, business plans that at best are not in the vocabulary of the founder or leader that sent it to me. And at worst, they're documentations of businesses and enterprises and organizations that the person who sent me has no capacity to pull this off. And so I'm not against using AI to help us write, to come alongside us and do a lot of tasks that can be uh, burdensome. Certainly, we use technology to become more productive, but AI is not meant to replace us. AI is not what's going into business. You're who's going into business. So it needs to be your business. Now you can tell AI to help you do some calculations, do some forecasting, but it has to be of the business that you understand, you have the ability to do, and you will be bringing the resources to implement. So AI is not to tell you what your business is. You're to tell AI how to help you do the business that God has given you. So even here at Anticipate Dominion, our founders that we work with are required to do the work. Then we layer technology on top of what they've already figured out, what they've already received as revelation. And now we bring the resources in whatever form that might be through AI, through SaaS, through other humans to help implement the God given idea. And so, what I'm seeing a lot today is artificial intelligent ideas that budding entrepreneurs, budding founders are taking on as if it's their own. And they don't speak in the same language that the document is, and they don't even fully understand the business that they're claiming that they want to launch. Or worse, they've come up with things that aren't even a thing. You know, artificial intelligence is not definitive, and there's still a lot of bugs in it. And so please, future founders, budding, emerging leaders, please be mindful of that. And we who are on the other side of the table, who are looking for opportunities to support, to partner with, to sponsor and invest in, we're looking at you. And so your documentation, whatever it is, needs to be a reflection of you and not something that you have put on like a costume. So we want to talk about that because it comes up the most for me when we're dealing with business plans and pitch decks, investor presentation decks. You're letting AI generate them for you, and it's really meant to just be a design tool, not meant to be a creation tool. And if it is a creation tool, then you're probably in the wrong place when it comes to working with me and Anticipate Dominion, because we work with God-given ideas to implement his will in the earth. All right. So I want to bring that up because it's becoming a problem. And it means that we're going to have a lot of junk in the earth, and we already have too much waste as it is. All right. So let me help you now understand the components that go into a business plan that make it fundable. And by fundable, I mean that it's you're presenting it to others because, and even for yourself, we talked about that in the past. You are your first funder. You're the first person to invest time and money into your business. So you should have a business plan with a business case that makes it feasible to do this business. And God's ideas can take that kind of scrutiny. All right. So when you know, and especially our dominionaires and people who are building enterprises for a generational impact, we already know that we need to bring outside investment to our projects because our projects are so big. These aren't side hustles. These are enterprises. These are organizations. These are businesses that will be employing other people. And so we know that we'll be working with funders and investors and other partners to come alongside to bring this endeavor to manifestation. And so there are components that go into a business plan that helps us funders be able to assess that this idea is fundable. It is worthy of investment. And so there are 6 sections basically that go into a business plan. And so I'm going to cover them briefly today, but they should give you a good enough insight that you know what you need to be putting together. All right. So the first part is the executive summary. And so think of this as your cover page. It's usually 1 or 2 pages the most. It's not very long because the rest of the business plan has all the details, but it's an overview of the entire business. What you do, who you are serving, how you're going to make money, and why this enterprise will succeed. So it's an overview of the entire business. And this is the section that typically most of our investors is the only section that they really read, right? But not people like me. We're going to read the whole thing, but the executive summary is going to be the first thing that we read, and that will determine whether we want to read further. All right. And so we want to get our executive summary complete as a standalone picture of your business. That's the first section. Then the next sections are you're going to have the market analysis. And this is really looking at the market. You are in the marketplace. So there must be a market for what you are looking to sell or serve. And so this section explains who is your customer specifically, not small business owners. It's what type of small business owners. It's going to talk about what is the size of the opportunity. How many small business owners like yours are there where you are planning to do business? Who are your competitors? Yes, we don't have on blinders. We understand who's in our marketplace. One, because we want to make sure that we are exceeding what's in the marketplace. And two, your competitor could turn into a partner down the road. All right. You also want to have in this market analysis, you want to show what makes what you are bringing to the market different. Why is your approach better? So this section demonstrates that you understand the landscape that you are building in, not just the product that you are building. All right. Then the next section is the organizational structure. Now, this tells us who runs the business. Is this a solopreneur business, meaning only one person, the owner, owns it and runs the business? Nobody else helps them? Or who else is a part of your team? What is the legal entity? Is it a corporation? Is it an LLC? Is it a partnership? Is it an S corp? Is it a nonprofit? There are so many different types of entities, right? But so this organizational structure explains that. Who is on your team, and what do they bring to the table? Do you have a marketing professional who's bringing 20 years of marketing experience to the table? Things like that. This section, the organizational structure section, shows that the business has real operational capacity behind it, not just a single person with an idea. And so back to my AI challenge, I'm getting business plans generated by AI by a one-person business with owner, and the business needs at least 20 people. Okay. So the organizational structure is a part of your business plan. Then the next section is the section that's the easy part. This is about the product or service that you're offering. And as the owner, this is what you should know like the back of your hand. So, what exactly are you selling? This is where the offer clarity that we discussed a couple of weeks ago, this becomes essential because here you explaining in great detail what you are actually offering. And so a vague description in this section will weaken the entire plan, no matter how strong the other sections are, because it means that we don't know exactly what we're selling. And then we want to have a section on your marketing strategy. Yes, you must have one. This is not if we build it, they will come. No, this is we are building in such a way, and this is how we're going to attract, encourage, and get people to come participate in our business. So, how will customers find you? How will you convert their attention into revenue? Right? It's one thing to like your post, it's another thing to buy your product. So, this section, your marketing strategy section, connects your offer to the actual method of acquiring the customers who need it. All right. So you're going to have to figure that out. There's a strategy behind how you're going to get customers. And then, of course, importantly, are the financial projections. What revenue do you expect? What's the income that you're going to get? And then what expenses will you occur or incur, right? What expenses are you going to have? And what does the math actually show? The math must be mathing. What does it show over 12 months at least, up to 36 months? Yes, you want a 1 to 3 year financial projections. And this is often the section that founders avoid the longest, because it's nice to talk about how you're going to have this big business. It's another thing to see really what the numbers are saying. And so it's frequently the section that matters the most to anyone who's evaluating whether to invest with you, whether that's invest with you, lend to you, or partner in your business. We're going to want to look at your financials. So these are the six sections of a business plan, especially when you know that you want others to come alongside you to participate in your business, whether that's even your team members, because usually um, your team, your let's say the C-suite, your leaders who are going to be doing major functions of your business, they need to see your business plan. And if when you are starting up your business and you don't have, years of history to point to, someone who is making the decision whether to work with you or work with another company is going to look at your business and to see if it is reasonable that they can have confidence to dedicate their work time with you. And so your business plan has a number of individuals who need to review it and assess it and be able to discuss it with you thoroughly so that they get the confidence to join in with you. So I do also want to address something that comes up a lot as well is your business plan is not a one and done thing. Your business plan um, is a living document. It's not a document that we're going to do it now and then we're going to put it up and say that we've done it and that we can pull it out whenever someone asks us about it. No, your business plan is a governing document. It's the reference points that your business turns to periodically, and especially when it needs to make a significant decision, whether or not to take on a partner, whether or not to expand. You're going to consider that decision against your business plan. And so, as from everything from evaluating opportunities to bringing on advisory people or investors, of course. All right. So, that's why it's a living document. And so, you're going to be continually updating it. Here at Anticipate Dominion, our founders update their business plan quarterly because they have quarterly meetings with their investors. And so your business plan, it is if you don't update it, it will just become something for your archives. It's a historical artifact that you can point to when you started. This was the plan that you started with. But in reality, it is a living, breathing document that you will be updating along the way as seasons change, conditions change, and your outlook changes. And so you're going to constantly be updating it to reflect what has actually changed and any new understandings that you receive once you start working in a market and you get a better sense of things. You're going to update your marketing analysis. Once you start implementing some of your marketing strategy and you see what's working and what's not working, you're going to update your marketing strategy. And so, of course, your financial reality is always going to be changing, hopefully changing for the better, but nonetheless, you're going to be updating your projections along the way, and you may have to tweak what you offer. You know, once you make a product and you start to sell it and you start to get feedback from customers, you may tweak that product. And so your business plan needs to reflect the changes that you have been experiencing. So, this is the same principle that we discussed regarding your written vision plan going back several weeks when we talked about the discipline of revisiting it to keep you building the right thing when season shifts and markets move. And so the business plan becomes your operational extension of that same discipline. You're going to apply it to the specific methods of your business rather than to the broader scope of your calling. So, a few weeks ago, we talked about how sometimes God will tell you to pivot. And so when God tells you to pivot, your business plan also has to pivot. And so you update your business plan in those times. So you want to treat your business plan as a living document, schedule periodic reviews of it now. Just decide in your annual plan when you're going to review your business plan and make updates. Put that in it now because you don't want to get in the habit of doing things when you're motivated to do them. You want to establish the discipline of doing those things that need to be done regularly. So it doesn't take long. Once you make your business plan, every few months or so, set aside 15 to 30 minutes to let's review things, see how we are doing, and update where it's necessary. All right, so this is the discipline that I want you to establish now. Okay, so now let me talk about something that's a little bit more pastoral because I know that for many of you, the act of actually sitting down to write the document is going to raise up some issues. You know, places where you realize that you don't really know your numbers the way you think you do, or maybe the product is a little more vague than you realize. Sitting down to do your business plan is going to it's going to shine a light on all of that. And and I don't want you to get discouraged when that discomfort starts to come on you, because you should be uncomfortable now. We want to we want to shine a light on anywhere there's a gap or there's a vagueness in what we're trying to do, because what we're trying to do is so important. We want to make sure that there's no holes in our foundation. So the gap when you're writing, and yes, when you do the initial writing, that by all means, you can then give to AI to refine the gaps that you discover in yourself. Is not to make you be discouraged or feel like maybe this is too much for you. No, the gaps are meant to show you the things that you need to do next. It's just illuminates your action plan. And so we want to know those gaps, and then we want to write down the next steps that we need to do to fill those gaps. So don't be embarrassed that you have gaps. Actually, I'd rather you find them now, and then we're just going to treat them as your action list, and you're going to schedule out how you address each of those tasks on your action list that will fill in the gaps. So the founder who discovers in July that she does not have clear financial projections is in a far better place than the one who doesn't discover it until it's time to meet with a potential investor, and then you realize, these numbers are all off, right? So we want to find out sooner rather than later. And again, back to my AI sermonette on today. AI makes mistakes. AI will make up numbers and write in such a way that you think they must be right. So you must do your own numbers and certainly check anything that AI has produced for you. Okay. So the writing of your business plan is the job precisely. When it makes you uncomfortable, then the business plan is doing its job because it is meant to reveal where there are areas that are not clear. So that discomfort you feel when you see, oh, I need to do more to figure something out, that's a good place to be. Lean into that and then go figure out what needs to be figured out. All right. So let the discomfort come and then build on those actions that it shows you need to be addressed. All right. So this week, as we go into our reflection time, I want you to ask yourself this. Do you have a written business plan that you wrote or you verified is accurate if you had AI to write it? And if AI wrote it, is it in your language and is it accurate? All right. And if not, if you haven't written it yourself, if you haven't verified what AI has produced for you, then ask yourself, what is keeping you from getting your business plan right? I need you to be honest with what is the obstacle that's holding you back. Is it time? Is it uncertainty about the format, the various sections that should be in it? Is it fear about what it might show you that you don't have? And I will tell you, AI will tell you these incredible things, and the reality of you being able to do something that you don't have the capacity to do and you don't fully understand how to do makes the doing of it that less likely. And so I want to make sure that you don't get stuck in the AI trap and then not launch the business that God gave you to launch because you got tangled up with AI. All right. AI has its use, but with balance. And so this week, we really want you to spend some time and think about what's going on with you and your business plan. Okay. And then I want you to ask yourself, if I wrote my own executive summary and financial projections this week, just myself, what what is it going to show me that I still don't have the fullest information on? And ask yourself, are you willing to let it show you so that you know what actions to take next, what sections that still need you to work on, and that you will prioritize doing those sections. So your business plan, again, is a living document. You're always going to be updating it, improving it. So the main point today, midway through this year of launching your business, is that you got to get a business plan on paper. And even if it's just a draft, it's time to start. All right, so write the vision, make it plain. And at this halfway mark, let the business plan be the place where your calling becomes fully operational. So, 26 weeks in, do you have a written business plan, or is this the week that you start one? Either answer is correct. Answer, this is the place where I start, or this is the place where I update. Either one is right. So let me know where you are. I want to celebrate with the ones who have a business plan that they have confidence in, and I want to help the ones who are just beginning to write it. This is the week that we want to get started. All right? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know where you are. Okay, so let me shift gears and put on my executive council hat, and I want to leave you a couple of tips this week as it pertains to your business plan being a prophetic tool in our legal infrastructure. Okay, so tip number one, a fundable business plan. Again, a business plan that we know it is with our direct intention that we are going to be seeking financial resources to come alongside to get the business launched and operating. Okay, so I've covered the 6 sections that should be in that type of business plan. And if you cannot write all 6 sections yet, I want you to start with that executive summary and the financial projections, because it's these 2 sections that most of us lenders or investors or serious partners will want to see first anyway before we're willing to spend any more time evaluating your business. So those 2 sections will reveal more about your business actually being viable than the other sections, right? Because we want to know the overview of the business, and we want to know what the financials are projecting. So you can use a simple template, and actually, I'll try to remember to drop the one that we use at Anticipate Dominion to give you an easy blueprint to get that business plan started. And there's also other online products, but the main thing is to just get one and start with one. All right, and it's easy, especially at this early stage of the business, that you can put in what you are expecting, right? And so I will try to drop our template in so you have an easy one uh, handy for you to use. All right. The other tip that I want to talk about is your business plan is a governance document, which means that it has the same value as your operating agreement or your shareholder agreement or your bylaws. It has that same stature. So, but beyond it, just with the strategic value, right? It gives us the strategy of how we're launching our business. A well-maintained business plan becomes the important document with you are pursuing financing. And so lenders and investors specifically look for evidence that a founder treats planning as an ongoing discipline rather than a one-time exercise completed when you're looking to get financing. So we see a business plan that has showing its updates, documenting when major decisions are being made and why. This is a good indication to founders, to funders and investors that this is a founder who is constantly planning and adjusting their business as conditions change. So your business plan helps to authenticate that. All right. So your business plan is not just something to get done, it's something that you incorporate in the way you do business from now on. All right. So get those two things oriented in your mind so that you build the discipline of making it the way that you operate and run your businesses. Okay, so that's it for this week. It's halfway through. Next week, I do want to start talking to you a little bit more about Anticipate Dominion and the framework that we use with founders who are building sustainable enterprises. And by sustainable, we mean that it's meant to have generational impact. So we know that these are big. So I want to talk to you about the framework we use. It's something that can be used across the board, but I want to share a little bit more of it with you. So we'll jump into that next week. I'll see you then. Have a great week. Let me know what's going on with your business plan. And I tell you, if you send me one more business plan made by AI, I'm coming for you. All right. See you next week.